college football. Do the way you have it in the script. You know.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well,
Get
we are
Hardline.
live.
It's amazing we're live and he's dropping the deuce. It's unbelievable, man.
Well, you know what? He's hardline, so that's what we got to do. So,
it's a
hey,
hard
everybody,
deuce.
hey, we're gonna talk. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and welcome on a Friday of Labor Day weekend. Hey, college football last night kicked off. Man, two great games that went down to the wire. They were comebacks, interceptions that were returned for touchdowns. So I got to, the Penn State over Purdue, and then Pitt over West Virginia. Those were two great battles. Of course, they weren't any of the top four teams that we always talk about, but I got to tell you, I enjoyed it thoroughly last night.
Yeah, it's a public bang. Look, we went back even this last Saturday with a great Nebraska Northwestern game. So the NCAA college football season is off and running, and very good drama and very competitive games. And Louis Riddick said, who called the game along with Randy Scott on the Pittsburgh West Virginia game, said if all the games he's ever played in or called, he went to Pitt. That was the most emotional when he played in it. It means a lot. That game means a lot to the Pitt fans. And look, Penny Pickett just left, so
and they hadn't played that game in about 10 years. They hadn't had that backyard brawl that they were talking about. So I'm glad they brought it back. And for that area there, for the Western Pennsylvania and West Virginia, oh my God, that's just it just brings back culture, and you remember your mama and your daddy and your granddaddy watching those games too. So yeah, it was great. It was really great to watch. We're going to be looking at, and of course, once Hardline gets done in the bathroom, we'll talk to him about this. But Notre Dame and Ohio State. I know. My God, Notre Dame.
What? Now during COVID where all the toilet paper shortage went. Open that door. I guarantee you open that door and toilet paper and paper towels fly out.
Oh, my God. Well, we've got the camera on the door just in case he does come walking out. Hopefully he pulls up his pants this time. Ohio State, Notre Dame, we're going to ask him about that. I got Ohio State in that game. I think it'll be a fairly close game, but I got Ohio State. What are you looking at?
They're favored by 20. It's Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got a tough schedule this year, and I don't know if they're the new coach. Brian Kelly left after all those years, went down to LSU. A big resume with Brian Kelly as far as wins and losses in South Bend. So, but I love it. We talked about it when we had Chris Landry on last week. I was so pissed off that teams like USC start with Rice and Fresno State. Did you see who Fresno State started with last night? They started with Cal Poly. John Daly, his beautiful wife Terry, Joe Watts, Jeremy Settles, John Hyatt, Matthew Swan, and his dog Nike could beat Cal Poly. I mean, and then, wow. You all right?
Hey, Hardline, you're back. Did you flush?
You lost a few pounds, buddy.
When you get past 30, everything starts to slowly shut down. They say men die at 75, so it's that slow damn walk.
So we were talking college football. So Ohio State, Notre Dame. What are you looking at as far as what the Hardline's doing?
So I'm looking to see exactly kind of if Notre Dame's getting any quality wide receivers back. They've had a myriad of injuries kind of going on the last few weeks. Leading up into this week, I thought maybe Notre Dame would be able to pull something off, but I got to go Ohio State. I just think that they're more complete. I think that they're less injured. I think that Ohio State gets the win. I would hope Notre Dame could pull up the upset, though, because then it makes things more interesting down the stretch due to their schedule.
All right.
Georgia plays Oregon. Now, I think SC is going to landslide, going to go 10-0 or 11-0 with that horrible conference they're in. We just talked about it while you were taking a dump. We talked about that they open up with Rice and Fresno State. So their two non-conference games are gimmies, cupcakes. Right. Give me that one, because if Oregon can somehow go down, beat Georgia, that would really solidify them as a Pac-12, I think, combatant to USC. These help.
I just can't see Oregon beating Georgia. I as much as it sounds nice, I mean, Oregon struggled against the run last season, especially when you look at them playing Utah, I believe in the Pac-12 championship game, and Utah just ran it on them down their throat. Oregon has a difficulty stopping the run. I think that Georgia has a very good run game, and I think they're just going to keep feeding it to them all game. The only thing that might help Oregon will be their pass game, and that's assuming that one of the 5-star recruits that Georgia has gets injured and they have to go to a 4-star that just happens to make a mistake.
What do you think about the defense of Georgia? Since they lost a lot of players to the NFL, do you think that they revamped, that they're going to be as good as they were last year?
I don't think they'll be as good as they were last year. I still think that they'll be good. I still think that they're one of the top teams in the SEC to beat. But that team was special. I mean, even going into the national championship game last year, Fish and I thought Alabama wasn't going to make this mistake, and you rode with Georgia, and I mean, they were a very, very good team. I still think that Alabama's probably the best team in the SEC this year, but Georgia's not that far removed from where they were last year.
All right. Hey, folks, questions or comments, drop them in the chat box. If you're not watching us live, email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. We are Daily Fish, coming to you from Vegas and Myrtle Beach. We hit sports, entertainment, politics, everything in between. Controversial but informed. No woke, no extreme. Bring it on, you social justice cops. We let the threes fly, aim for the upper deck as well. We are live on Facebook normally, daily.fish.5 on Facebook on Mondays at 6 p.m. and 3 p.m. We're doing it on Friday this week because we got Labor Day, and Fish and Hardline, they got things planned, so we didn't want to get in the way of that. You can also check us on Facebook on the Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Check us out on Daily Fish on YouTube, Wingding TV. We're also on Hey Vegas TV. And you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Stitcher, and Amazon as well. You can use all those channels to also hear our interview shows with our special guest. And we have the Hardline here. He is John Hardison from the Cost of Winning podcast. You can see him also on all those places too, but he's with us every week as well. I want to hit a little baseball, because we're certainly getting into it's Labor Day weekend. And I guess the question we were asking was, who fades coming down the stretch? Hardline, who do you have?
So here's the biggest thing. Looking kind of at like the Padres and the Phillies for that wild card spot, that's the one that I'm a little concerned about. I would think that the Padres can make a push, but their schedule and Philly's schedule, they're not the easiest. Phillies, the Phillies play Houston, Atlanta, and Toronto. The San Diego Padres, they've got the Giants, which sometimes gives them quite a bit of issues, and they've got a couple other teams. I still think the Padres maybe make that push and get it, and I don't think Philly is as consistent as maybe the Padres would be. I'm going to say the Padres make that last wild card spot, and I think Philly starts to fade.
Who do you think, Fish?
Who fades? Yankees were 8-21. Damn it.
I think it's Booney's calling you.
He's making for his job. Can you talk to me?
Did he send any pictures?
Well, I guess you and Aaron both got some.
No, well, maybe you might want to talk to my guy Hardline. He was over 30. The Yankees were 8-21. They had 219 in the month of August. They're fading, and it's great fodder for John, who's a Red Sox fan. And I don't think anyone of the wild. I'm not concerned about Minnesota. I'm not concerned in America. I'm not concerned in the National League about Milwaukee or the St. Louis Cardinals. These are my four teams going to the ALCS and NLCS: Dodgers, Mets, Houston, and the Yankees. And maybe a team that can get in there. And when I'm segueing, we talked about this before on the show, Hardline and John. I like the Atlanta Braves. If they get really healthy, defending champions, that they can make a stink in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. The two teams I have the Padres fading. I don't think they have it. I don't like what the Brewers are doing, and they desperately need to do something. So I think both those teams that had a huge trade, I think, are going to be the ones that are going to fade. You mentioned, the Braves. I mean, last night they bring up this rookie, his first start. He has 18 strikeouts. He literally breaks the record for Atlanta. So I agree with you on Atlanta. I think Atlanta has a good shot because nobody thought they're going to repeat. And yet at the same time, too, they look strong. Their farm system looks strong. I think they're going to be rested. So I would go with them. So go ahead.
I got a question, though, Daly, for Hardline. You just brought up something great, Daly, that they have a rookie come up and he throws 18 Ks, right? Is there a prop bet? Would there be a prop bet on that when the rookie plays? Can you over under on strikeouts? Do you think someone would take that bet, or am I just being ignorant?
Usually no, just because you don't have really much data on them in terms of being in the big leagues. I mean, what he did is it's so far out there. It's a once a million shot type of thing. I think moving forward,
it's a lot.
That's what I'm saying. You think moving forward, now you're going to start getting strike prop backs, see if somebody's going to get kind of closer to it or in that range, just to see if someone's going to fall for it. Do I think it's going to happen that he gets close to it again? Probably not, but it's a great story for right now. But we'll see, how they work him in. I would have to assume that with that big of a splash, if the next time he starts, he does really well, he'll be maybe in the rotation going into the playoffs as well.
Yeah. I mean, he did 8 innings last night and, 18 strikeouts, shutout ball. I got to think you might get a prop bet with somebody coming up from the minor leagues if that team has been holding that person back just because they want to wait and they want to do a big splash. And I can't think of anybody, that, right now who would be like that. So who knows? All right. Wild card team that could win the World Series. Who are you guys picking?
I'll go first. I'll be real quick. 2 words, Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's me.
Atlanta's got to be the team. I mean, look, they've got all the pieces. They've been there before. They've got the managing. It's got to be Atlanta.
Okay, I would agree with you on that. The only other one I might say is the Mariners. I like the Mariners. I like what they're doing. I think they're slowly creeping up, and I think they're beginning to gel. I think because they were there last year or pretty close to being there last year, that it's not like totally new to them. So I would throw the Mariners in there as a second possibility. So
Daly, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Daly, I ask you a question. If the Yankees fold and they make the playoffs and lose in their first wild card round, would that cost Aaron Boone his job?
I think he's on the hot
seat. I
seat.
can answer that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go for it.
Look, you're talking to a guy who's a Yankees fan. I told you last season, I thought Aaron Boone was out. I didn't think it was going to get any much better with Aaron Boone being there. I think that we should see everything that he did. And look, he's had success. It's not taking anything away. He's made an ALCS, multiple ones. He's coached really well. The problem is when you're one of the top 5 teams, that's not good enough. If he was coaching in Seattle, if he was coaching in Milwaukee, yeah, you keep that guy for a long time. But the reality is the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, it's about pennants, and that's all that matters, and Hall of Famers. And the fact that you're not getting there is an issue. And look, the Yankees have been unraveling. This has been an issue where teams like the A's are beating them. The Angels are beating them, teams that you should easily sweep. This has been a problem for a while. How he's been able to keep his job, I don't know. But again, this is the difference, as I say all the time, between the baby Steinbrenners and Papa Steinbrenner. Because Papa Steinbrenner would have fired your ass at the post-game press conference and shaking your hand and kicked you the hell out. The kids are like, well, we work the farm system. No. Look, there's an expectation. Like the Celtics, look, John, you're a C's fan. If the Celtics aren't making at least the Eastern Conference Finals, your ass ain't there.
Yeah. Yep. No, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go the other way. Go the other way, Daly, for you.
Yep.
There's a lot of talk right now. I go to an LA talk. I listen to my brother. I'm from Los Angeles. They're saying if Dave Roberts doesn't win the World Series in the next 2 years, he's gone. That'd be you know what? Is that the Marty Schottenheimer syndrome? The guy who goes to the playoffs 9 years, doesn't get to a Super Bowl, and they fired him. Can you see that scenario happening, gentlemen? Go.
Yeah, I think it is a possibility because that team is so stacked. Right. Kershaw came back last night, so at least they got one of the 3 injured starters back. I think it could be. I mean, I do see the Dodgers winning it all, but I think if he doesn't, there's a possibility they may bump him upstairs and bring somebody else in. I mean, the Dodgers have done that before. They usually stay with somebody for a long time. And that was the old management. I don't know if the new management's doing that, but I think it's a possibility. But Hardline, I'll defer to you. What do you think?
No, I think it's extremely possible. Look, LA is a bit fickle. LA doesn't do rebuilds for the most part. Everything has to be marching towards, multiple championships again there. I mean, when you talk about the greats, even in Lakers history, when you talk about Phil Jackson, you talk about Pat Riley, you talk about multiple championships. The jury is still out on Sean McVay, even though he's made 2 Super Bowls. And with Dave Roberts, there's been plenty of opportunities over and over again I think that if he gets a second championship, he pretty much could just sail out into the sunset and just wait his time in LA because he's given them 2, something that they haven't had since the 80s before the last time they won.
Championship.
Yeah, first.
Don't give me that 58 game bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. I finally listened to MLB Network, and finally, what's his face came out. Peter Gammon says, I don't even talk about 2020. That's an ultimate writer for that thing. He goes, the fact they gave a Cy Young Award and an MVP that year, the Dodgers played 58 games. That's it. It's a championship, but not in the eyes of the players. Okay.
But here's the thing, Fish. I mean, look, even if you didn't get asked to the dance and you said, I'm going to stay at home and protest, the dance is still going to happen. Somebody's still going to get laid. You might as well show up and try to get you some.
No. It's like getting asked to the dance and you can't dance. You're doing a John Travolta dance off for Saturday Night Fever, and you show up and you ever see the average white guy dance in the 80s? I mean, here comes all the comments.
That's not dancing, that's shuffling.
That's shuffling. The stupid stuff. You saw that dance in the stupid ass movie I like the movie Back to School with Dangerfield. I'm sorry. You ask any NFL guy, talk about the 82 season when they played 8 games. Theismann won the Super Bowl with the Redskins. And he says, I took shit always because it wasn't a full season. Yes, They all played under the same rules. Let's see the Dodgers do it. It's the 9th straight year they're going to go to the playoffs. I'm a Dodger fan. John Daly, they're 90-38 with major injuries. Let's see them do it in a significant year. There's no injuries in 2020. Even Kershaw didn't get injured in 58 games. So, So, all right, we'll see.
All right, let's move on here real quickly. Serena, could she win the U.S. Open? She's won the first 2 rounds. Hardline, what's your pick on that?
Yeah, I think that she most certainly can. I mean, look, she struggled a little bit in the last round, but she found a way to make it win. And I mean, that's what champions do. No matter how bad things get, you always find the bright spot in it. It would be such a Cinderella ending. And look, for, professional tennis, the ratings are going to be up. The longer she's in there, the higher the ratings are. So, you're rooting for her to be there so that, you get more of those sponsorship dollars. And I swear, if I see another Kevin Hart Chase commercial, I'm going to lose my damn mind.
What do you think, Fish?
He's the greatest tennis player of all time, men or women, because of her path. 40 years old, and this is the second-rated player she took down the other night. The problem I have with the idiots that run tennis, and John McEnroe, I love that guy. Got a great personality. He loves Serena, loves the whole story. Here's the problem: why the fuck are you putting the finals if they're on against the NFL's first week of the season? I'm watching the Raider game against the Chargers when Serena's playing. I mean, it's just you're stifling. Now I'll keep an eye on it, but no, I'm watching. If the Lions are playing their first game, Hardline, what are you going to do? You might tape it, but you're not watching it. Okay, it's the stupidest thing ever. I've never understood that. When you do that, put that on a Tuesday night when no one's watching anything that week. Watch the ratings go through the roof.
All right, let's talk about our last man standing contest at Shucks Tavern. And it's a big thing this year, and we've been talking about it, and Fish and I are in it. We also need your help as to what we're going to do, who we're going to pick. And Hardline, we know you're in it too, so we're going to let you make fun of us. But Fish, here are the 3 games you and I kind of talked about. We thought we would pick Baltimore over the Jets, maybe Indy over Houston, and maybe Philly over the Lions. I'm kind of leaning towards Baltimore over the Jets. I just don't think the Jets are ready yet. I would kind of go with that one. Which one are you going with?
Same, because Flacco's going to start, and I think the Ravens are loaded. So it's like Flacco's going to start, that Zach Wilson needs that week off. But tell the folks out there, John, that we're going to get the fans of Daily Fish involved. If they come in and tell them where to find us, you and I will make the pick, and then we'll say, hey, this is the fans' choice overwhelmingly. If they like Indy over Houston more than Baltimore over the Jets, because we're donating our thing to charities. Go ahead, tell them where they can find it.
And get it to us by Wednesday, because the season opens on Thursday. So get it to us by Wednesday. Email us at dailyfish1. So it's daily, DALY, fish, FISH, the number 1, just 1, dailyfish1@gmail.com, and then just put last man standing in the subject line so we can take a look at it. And then we'll add it up. If a lot of you are saying we should do Baltimore over the Jets, we'll do that. If you're telling us and you really want to piss off Hardline, Philly over the Lions, we'll go that way too. Hardline, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go Detroit over Philly. I just think that Philly lacks. Yes, they got A.J. Brown. They don't have a lot of pass catchers, but their run game is terrible. I mean, it is awful. And I don't think that they've addressed it. I don't think they've gotten much better. I think that Detroit's gotten a little bit better this season. I think that they have a little bit more pass catchers than them. I think that Detroit, because it's only a 1-point swing right now, I think that Detroit gets over Philly.
Okay. All right.
By far the best Hard Knocks I've seen. And even this Dan Campbell guy, have you watched any of it daily? I know Harlan and I have.
I have not had a chance to.
Please binge watch. That's your binge watching, so you can tell people next week. He's genuine, you know.
Cool. I've heard a lot of good things about it. You've been watching it, Hardline?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We finished it up. It's good. It's really good. It's one of the best ones I've seen in a while.
Wow, perfect.
All right, cool. All right, let's move on. Now it's time for our schmuck of the week. I have no idea who you're picking this week, Fish.
Well, you know what? People send me these memes all the time, so I'll explain it to you about what stupid people do because I didn't have any. Brett Favre's an idiot, but check this out. This is actually look at the cargo. Okay, I'm gonna explain it to you. Jay Haley, explain it. Look at that. This is Welcome to Mississippi, and there's two really heavy-set people that look like they couldn't get any of Hardline's toilet paper, and they're sitting on the back of their flatbed truck with their hands over the rail. They look miserable. this is not an endorsement for have sex in America right there. That's one of them. Check this stupidity out, everyone. This is a pool, above ground pool you put in your backyard, and these idiots have an electric thing. They have an electric thing sitting in the pool to make their cooler get cool. And the guy's standing up. If that socket hits there, they're buzzed. Wow. That guy has no penis left. The guy's standing there. Okay. Right. That's that.
Hopefully they don't think this is a suicide thing we're doing. So
no. That's my schmucks of the week right there.
Cool. All right. Let's see who has got the swag this week. Who are we going to be toasting, Fish?
This will be the most controversial swag we ever did. Okay. But this is in the New York Post, and it got a lot of play. What's the average attendance, John Daly and John Hardison, of the Oakland A's? 2,672. Okay. I've been in the Oakland Coliseum a million times. It holds 65,000. Yeah. Check this out. I want you to read it, Daly, everyone, what it says. Read it. What does it say?
Police investigating A's fans seemingly caught in attack.
Okay. The name of our show, John, the name of our show on Facebook and YouTube for our visuals is Hummers, Holy Shit. There's a guy sitting in the Bob Uecker seats for our listening audience, and there's a girl with his head in her lap. Now, if you're calling this, we're calling this like Major League Baseball, there's a low inside pitch. I mean, wow. So he's obviously, the girl has her head in his lap, and he's just enjoying a baseball game, the great weather of Oakland, not anyone around. But the cameras found this guy. People, if you're listening, go ahead, Dale. Go ahead, Hardline.
I just want to know, were they mad that she didn't buy a ticket for an extra seat, or was the announcer mad that she got more press time than he did speaking into the mic?
Could you imagine? I don't know what game it was, but Daly said, New York Post shows us police investigating A's fan seemingly caught in stadium act. Can you imagine being the opposing team? You're showing pictures of the crowd, and you want to. You're saying, "Oh, look at the fans here in Oakland. It's as sparse." Oh my God! Let's go to a commercial. Wow, that one. I can't wait to see the comments on that one.
So that is our Who's Got Swag, and our drink of the week is brought to you by Shucks Tavern. And Shucks Tavern is in Vegas. Great seafood and drinks. 2 locations. Head to Shucks Tavern on North Durango on the northwest side of town where Fish is overnight. Say Daily Fish podcast. You get a free drink. Do it the next day. A free appetizer. That's Shucks Tavern. Check out Shucks Tavern on Facebook. And our drink of the week this week is, Fish?
Well, if I was drinking and I'm not, But I would do. John had a great idea. We're going to do a Moscow Mule because of Mikhail Gorbachev, who just passed away. Rest in peace. And he was really, really instrumental for all young people out there in bringing Russia, breaking down the Soviet Union and bringing more to a capitalistic society. He is not endeared in Russia. Putin did not go to his funeral. You know that, right? And they can't stand him there, but the people love him. Okay.
Well, and absolutely. And when you see what's going on in Russia today and what he actually brought freedom, he tried to bring industry and capitalism there. And I was there in 2002, and I saw how excited the Russians were. They wanted to do work with Americans. They wanted American companies over there. And that's totally gone now. So to me, it's kind of appropriate with what we're seeing in the war, the Russian war in Ukraine. It's appropriate that Mikhail Gorbachev's death, he's being remembered. He was 91 years old. He's being remembered. And it's a reminder of what Russia wanted to be and unfortunately what they've turned out to be. So to Mikhail Gorbachev, Moscow Mule. Hey, tell everybody what's in a Moscow Mule.
Oh, it's easy. It usually comes in a tin. Moscow Mule will be vodka and ginger beer. So if you have ginger beer, pour it up to the top, ice, and garnish it with a lime.
All righty, cool. All righty, let's move on to some hardline bets. Again, he is John Hardison. He has the Cost of Winning podcast focusing on fantasy sports and sports betting. He's on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. All right, hardline. We did the last man standing pick. We already went over that. Let's talk about the Broncos deal with Russell Wilson. I mean, they extended him 5 years. To me, that doesn't make sense. What's your take on that?
You know what? It makes a lot of sense. Look, they've struggled since Peyton Manning has left for consistent quarterback play. I mean, they have Brock Osweiler, who they thought would help out. That didn't go well. Drew Lock didn't go well. They had the guy from the University of Memphis, Paxton Lynch. That didn't go well. So look, John Lynch is looking pretty bad. I mean, sorry, not John Lynch. John Elway's looking pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? He has to find something consistent. And look, they went out and they got a guy they traded for that they think can play a little bit longer. And look, as long as he stays healthy like Tom Brady, it makes sense to have a top 5, top 10 quarterback there. I mean, you have a guy that's consistently thrown over 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns over the last 4 or 5 seasons, and it's hard to replicate that. The thing about his contract is, yes, it's 5 years and $245 million, but only $161 million that is guaranteed. And after 4 years, if they don't see that this is working out anymore, they can opt out. Now, they do take a dead money hit of $31.2 million, but I think it's hard to replicate quarterback play. I mean, there's the 2 highest paid players on the team are the quarterback and the left tackle for a reason. Those are the 2 most solidified spots that you have to have done. I think that it frees up the Broncos to now, depending on how they structure it, to go out and make sure that their young wide receivers can get paid, especially if they rework certain deals. And I think that it allows them to be more competitive in the AFC West. I mean, look, Fish and I both live in Vegas. Where Raider Nation is strong, but right now the Kansas City Chiefs have been running the West for at least the last 5 years.
Yeah, Fish, what's your take on?
I got a 2-part take on that, or Russell Wilson. Got to do it. I agree. You have to do it, guys. 9 out of the last 10 years he's gone to the Pro Bowl. He didn't go last year, but he was injured for 5 games. You have to. Paxton Lynch. You got Tim Tebow, Kyle Orton. There's a plethora of just bad. Brock Osweiler. Top quarterbacks, they're horrible. And so now you got a guy who's a franchise quarterback, go with it. But I have a 2-part thing as far over and unders on this one. So what's the over and under on how many, was this a half an inning? How long did this take over and under? 2 innings before she finished? What do you think?
It depends if she'd been there before. So it might have been longer. Okay.
Now I got a second one for you. We're people in California are crazy because Governor Gavin Newsom, we'll throw this in a sport. He wants to eliminate all gas-powered cars within the next 13 years, all electricity. This guy found it. John's always into new technology, always finds these things. His buddy John O'Hurley talked about new technology. What about this? You think what's the over and under on this powering cars in the next 30 years? Hardline, you're our guy. You're 68%. How's that good? If that could work, then we have to invest, guys. All right? Actually, by the way, for listening views, it was a guy taking a leak into his gas tank. So
yeah,
if urine,
with a beer can sitting on the trunk.
with a beer can. So yeah, he couldn't figure out he couldn't piss on his lawn. I gotta show this again.
There actually is some technology that uses urine to create energy, and I know I read it somewhere, and it's and the world is yearning to get it. So.
Okay, well, let me tell you what creates energy that comes where your urine comes out. This guy's got a lot. I love this. This is the funniest. I can't get it out for our listeners and viewers. I'm getting texts left and right. My phone's blown. The person calling was the one who said, "Gee, what the hell is that?" All right, on that one, does Judge beat Maris's 61 homers?
You know what? I think that he does. I think that he gets it done. I think that's the one bright spot of the Yankee season is how well Aaron Judge has played, and I think that he crosses it. And look, at the end of the day, like, pay this man his worth. Get everything done. Lock him in long term. It is insane that, we're talking about this guy possibly passing the 61 mark, which is something, astronomical. I think he gets it done. I think that's a bright spot of the Yankee season. And look, that's the marketing tool, because if they get knocked out in the first round, God bless New York.
Yeah. All right, Albert Pujols, does he hit 700 before he retires?
I think that he does. I think that he gets it done. I mean, look, where's he at right now? I know he's really close somewhat to it. I think that he gets to it. I think that, this is the way you cap off a spectacular career. It's something to write down with, but I think he gets it done at the end of the day.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he has a better chance of doing it because the Cardinals are in a pennant race, so that he's going to be if they're bringing him up to bat, because it's a crucial situation for him to pinch hit, or maybe even to be the DH. Do you think that's a better thing to help him, or would it be, let's say the Cardinals are already in, they don't have to worry about it, and that would hurt him or help him? What do you think?
I'd say that, you know what? I think put him as a DH would help. I think going that route is the better way. I mean, let him have some pride in getting this instead of it kind of being a little bit more of a charity. But I think, look, you put him in a DH position, you just say, your job is just to go for it. Just go for it, and we'll back you no matter what.
Over under. NFL starts in 9 days. Well, basically next Thursday. But the first Sunday, I want your response on this too. We're going to go to our big guy here, who's our prognosticator. Over, under, 15. Over or under how many times we see Mahomes and Rodgers in a State Farm commercial?
Wow. If you're watching NFL Red Zone with Scott Hansen, I'll go under. If you're watching anything that's CBS, Fox, ABC, ESPN, or NBC, it's over. Hell, you might see more than 15 before the second quarter.
Daily?
I'm going to agree with Hardline. Absolutely. I think it's going to be there a lot. And, they're bringing, I know for a while there, they were thinking about maybe not having Rodgers in those anymore.
Okay. Yeah. I got another over under for you, because this is blowing up. Over under 15. How many times we try and see John Hamm trying to bang Flo from the Progressive commercials on? That's ridiculous. They couldn't think of she's not attractive. I'm sorry. I mean, she's to some people. John Hamm. I mean, that's on every sport event. Serena Williams, John Hamm commercials with Flo, trying to pick her up. I don't get it. I say I'll go first. Over under 15 during a full day of football. And Hardline, the good thing about the Red Zone channel, there's no commercials. That's why I watch it. Yep. But you're right. If we're watching regular TV, I guarantee it's over 15 on both of them. You'll be so sick of Mahomes, Rodgers, John Hamm, and Flo. And by the way, who's a good-looking black kid that's in the State Farm commercials? This kid is great. He's in all this. He's making more money than, you know his name? He's making more money than Flo and him are making more money than a lot of people in TV right now. You know that.
Well, and he's Jake from State Farm, and they originally had a Jake from State Farm who was a fat white guy who used to take the phone calls. Yeah, it was John Hyatt. Yeah, and it was, if you remember, the original commercial was the guy's on the phone, and it's in the middle of the night. And he's going, yeah, well, what if I can do this? And his wife comes, who are you talking to? And she thinks he's talking to his lover on the side. He goes, I'm talking to Jake from State Farm. Oh, sure you are. And she grabs the phone. She goes, hi, Jake from State Farm. And he goes, hi, yeah. And so what they did, that commercial was actually very effective for probably about 2 or 3 years, and then they decided to really make Jake there. And so they gave this guy the Jake character, and he's been great. I agree with you. He's a great spokesperson.
He actually acted. The one he did with Mahomes with the tennis shoes, where Mahomes take the tennis shoes away from him because he wouldn't the sneakers. Oh, it was great. But the commercials drive me crazy in this stuff. Again, okay, I got it. So let's go to the hard. People are saying, what's a hard line locks for the first week in NFL? So we won't be on, before the season starts.
So I'll start. My first one is the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to take them to go into LA and get the win. Money line minus 126. And again, you're going to hear Chris Collinsworth say over and over and over again, the defending Super Bowl champs, they hardly ever win. It's when they come back, they lose most of the time. 70%. And unfortunately, Al's not there. Al, can you believe 70% of the time they don't win? They don't win when they play the first game of the season. Can you believe it? Every damn quarter. So don't take the St. Louis Rams. I'm not St. Louis Rams. Don't take the LA Rams. Take the Buffalo Bills. Take a money line. God.
Okay. Any other?
I'll take the Saints money line. They play the Atlanta Falcons. I like Arthur Smith. I like what he's trying to do. I got to believe they're probably going to start Marcus Mariota instead of Desmond Ridder at quarterback just until he feels better. But look, there's nothing in Atlanta that's good. The only bright spot of Atlanta is really Cordell Patterson and seeing if he's able to break Devin Hester's return record. That's pretty much the only thing Atlanta's got going for it this year. And Kyle Pitts. I like the Saints. I think now that you got Michael Thomas back, you got Chris Olave back, you got Jarvis Landry. And for those that are playing fantasy, make sure that you don't start Alvin Kamara. I don't think that he's going to start this week because of his loss situation with the incident in Las Vegas. With that being said, I would probably start Mark Ingram for you.
How about the Dolphins and the Patriots? Because to me, this is a game that could be setting a shift different ways. Again, a Patriots fan, I kind of see the Patriots kind of dwindling, and I see the Dolphins kind of coming on. But at the same time, too, the Dolphins, you said that before. What's your pick for that game?
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Pats. I just think that Bill Belichick is he's been here before enough times. I know the Dolphins have a brand new head coach. He's a first-time head coach. Yes, they have Tyreek Hill. Yes, they have Tua. But the problem is as well, like Mike Gesicki's not going to be a pass catcher the way that he was before last season. They don't really trust the running back game because we still don't know. It's really running back by committee for the most part. I think it's more consistent what you know that you're getting out of the Pats. And I think the Pats defense is going to lead them to the win more so than their offense.
I disagree. I go with Chris Landry. You got Jarvis Landry, you got Tyreek Hill, and you got Jalen Waddle, and Gesicki is playing. And I think I'm with Daly. I don't see anything in the Patriots that Matt Patricia was named yesterday their offensive coordinator. It's just a joke. He's never coached offense. Hey, what kind of coach was he for you guys in Detroit? So
look, Fish. Here's the thing about Patriots assistants. I've said this time and time again. When they're under the umbrella of Bill Belichick, they're amazing. They're getting SAT scores out of this world. When they go separate, they're horrible. And I can name a plethora of them, and no offense, John, but it's a shit show. From Romeo Crennel to Charlie Weiss to Matt Patricia, and the list goes on and on and on. They just, when they leave, it's a
Nick Saban.
Nick Saban, yeah, that's your bright spot. But Nick Saban in the league.
He was in Cleveland.
Can I show you guys something? These two have a better chance of running the offense in New England than Matt Patricia does with Joe Judge. I'm sorry, they do. Joe Judge was horrible running with the Giants, and I don't get it. Look, you're 68%, so I follow your picks. I like your pick of the Saints. You know what? But the other one, I don't know about the Bills. I think the Rams are everyone's picking the Bills to win that game. The Rams won the championship. They're displaying their rings. I will tell you this: over under, there'll be 25,000 Bills fans in that stadium next Thursday. Isn't that sad? LA wins a championship, and they always have more fans than the other team. Ridiculous.
Well, Fish, when you hear Chris Collinsworth say for the 18th millionth time the percentage of the returning champions losing on the first game, you go ahead and you text me and you say, "Damn it, you're right."
I can't do a call. I can't. Daly and I, before you with us, we did a thing on Sportscasters, And Collinsworth got the Razzie or Razzle, whatever they call the award, because
Razzie.
It's 4th and 1, right? And there's 30 seconds to go in the game, and the team's down by 4 points. And Collinsworth does this. It's very important that they convert this 4th and 1 and keep this drive going so they can win the game. And you remember when you watched the movie Trading Places, and the brothers, the Duke brothers, were teaching Eddie Murphy the business? Hey, he goes, what's his name? Valentine. This is an orange. This is what you make orange juice with. And Eddie Murphy looks at the camera and goes, like that. That's the response I have. And even Debbie said, when Chris Collinsworth is great, got great insight, but when he calls a game, he acts like we've never watched a football game before. So let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Real quickly here before we get out of this hard line, the Cleveland and the Jazz made a huge trade that to me absolutely blew me away as far as, that they would do something like that. That Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs for 3 decent players. Was that a surprise to you? And is it also, does that change the Cavs? I mean, to me, the Cavs look like a contender now. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it changes a lot. I mean, the reality is this. I think the Jazz, once Danny Ainge kind of got in there as senior vice president of basketball operations, I think he looked at the roster and said, look, they couldn't win. I thought he was going to go to New York the last few months, but once they finalized Mitchell Robertson's long-term extension and they did a long-term extension for RJ Barrett as well, it kind of just showed you that they weren't going to make that trade happen. Look, Rudy Gobert over the offseason, he set the market pretty high with those 4 first-round picks and draft capital, and everybody's kind of got to match that now. And I think, look, they took the best deal that was possible. I thought after they got rid of Gobert, maybe they were going to say this is Donovan's team, but clearly the sides are at an impasse, and they traded him. I think if anybody's going to make these draft picks worthwhile, it's Danny Ainge, who was able to get, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and a couple other picks when he made that trade years ago with Brooklyn. In terms of Cleveland, I think that this definitely makes them a top 5 team in the East. And they're young, they're aggressive. When you consider now you have Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, you've got Jared Allen, and Mobley as well. I think that this makes them a very strong team. Unfortunately, they play in the same division as the Bucks, but those are going to be 2 marquee matchups, especially when they play throughout the season, that we'll see. And it's good to see 2 small market teams actually get viable players to make them a good thing. Really happy for Dan Gilbert. Really happy for Cleveland. I know they've taken some bumps since LeBron left, so hopefully this helps them out.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not buying it. I can't get John Bailey to say the F word, but I heard Stephen A. Smith say it. Podcast. He goes, "How the fuck did the Knicks mess this up?"
Yeah.
This is Donovan Mitchell's not hardline. Donovan Mitchell's not happy. He's the New Yorker. He wanted to go to the Knicks. And the Knicks are the best attendance in the league is by the Knicks who stink. The league needs the Knicks to be viable. All right. I'm binge watching something right now, Untold, about the Tim Donaghy point thing with the Mafia, where they fix games. The NBA needs teams that are in their big markets. They need the Lakers, they need the Celtics, they need the Bulls stink, and they need the Knicks to be good. Okay. I'm telling you right now, Cleveland's a top 5 team, but it's still Brooklyn. Okay, it's still Milwaukee. It's still the Celtics are better teams. Donovan Mitchell's not happy about it. When he was asked about it, he said no comment. How did the Knicks F that up, hardline?
Here's the reality, Fish. What have the Knicks done? What have the Knicks done in the last 20, 25 years that's been good? I mean, let's just be honest. Look, they're a terribly ran organization. I'll say with Stephen Kent, they're a terribly ran organization from top to bottom. I don't think that Dolan cares because he inherited the team basically from his dad. The reality is this: Phil Jackson couldn't fix it. They've been through a myriad of head coaches and a myriad of GMs since they've been there. They had Kristaps Porzingis, he left. They did all this stuff for Jalen Brunson, and now they got him. And by even hiring his dad to be an assistant coach, and now they're getting looked at by the NBA for tampering. Nothing in that organization screams stability. When Kyrie Irving is asked, who's a guy from Jersey that wants to play in New York, why you guys never looked at the Knicks, and him and Kevin Durant look at each other and say, why would anyone want to play for the Knicks? 2 top 25 players. There's nothing there.
Let me tell you something. These 2 right here can run the Knicks better than James Dolan can. I mean, we got some. Hey, these guys look like they need a job. I'm sorry. You know why I root for the Knicks, even though I'm a Laker fan. I'm from Los Angeles because the fan base there is phenomenal, and they have put up with such crap over all these years. They were so excited about this. I'm happy for Cleveland. You're right, the LeBron thing, but Donovan Mitchell. I'll say it again for the fourth time. He's not happy. And if you're not happy, how long before he gets out of that? I guarantee he plays there 2 years, maybe he's gone. I guarantee you.
He really doesn't have much of an option. I mean, honestly, like, look, at this point, you could cry, you could be mad, you could try to pull an Anthony Davis, but at the end of the day, like, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? You're going to go to New York? Maybe you'll go to Brooklyn if they decide to trade Kyrie Irving or something else, but you don't really have any options. You're stuck. You screwed yourself. Congratulations.
All right.
Okay.
I'm with you.
And again, he is the Daily Fish Hardline. He's John Hardison with Cost of Winning Podcast. He's going to stick with us. You can find him here with us each week. He's also on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts as well. All right, some controversy coming ahead. We are here at Daily Fish, coming to you from Vegas and Myrtle Beach. We hit some politics and social issues. Again, questions or comments, drop them in the chat box. Or if you're not watching us live, email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. Also, hey, if you need a great golf getaway, perfect time is the next 3 or 4 months. You got to come on the Myrtle Beach Golf Trail. They have dozens of courses along the Carolina coast. You can set up an entire trip for yourself, your family, or a bunch of friends. The site is myrtlebeachgolftrail.com. And again, you can play there year-round, even throughout the winter as well. Hey, folks, don't forget to check out our interview shows during the week. Make sure to check them out on Facebook at daily.fish.5, Myrtle Beach Golf Channel, and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. We are on YouTube, Wingding TV, and Hey Vegas TV. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon as well. Hey, Fish, you know, when we had Chris Landry on last week, did you do something on air that nobody caught but me?
Well, let me say, actually, I did. Okay. This is actually me. Okay. And I got to tell you the story. That's me. My hair's combed over, and that's my wife. At the bottom line, you should have seen the look on the usher's face. He goes, I don't know how we're going to get you out of the stadium. You know, so I don't know. What did I do on air last week with Chris Landry? You set me up for something?
Well, I thought you took a leak on camera.
So I did. So you saw me lean in like this. I had that. And I'm on this medicine because I have a problem with my urine. I had to piss so bad. I'm leaning in. You see me like this. I'm like, and you know, I can't lie. I did. I mean, you think I'm the first guy ever? You think when you anchored live at Channel 13 News, you had to take a leak? Do you think you just got up and did it? I guarantee you, people that have sat at the desk before, I know for a fact when I covered the NFL draft for AOL, Mel Kiper never got up in 7 hours. And there had to be a catheter on his dick. I guarantee you. How do you not get up for 7 hours without taking a leak? I had to urinate, everybody. Sue me. Karen's out there, whatever you know, what the social justice. I did not want to leave the show because when you're over 60 and you have to urinate, it's the urine, and then you got to keep is it all out? You got to sit down on the toilet, make sure it gets all out. See, Hardline, you're 30 and going to, you started a show doing this. It's a process. I could have been off the show for 3 minutes because I had to go take off and take a leak. The bottom line is, no one's fishy about it, is that people don't like the fact that idiot's not on the show. But yeah, John, thanks for telling everyone that I had to take a leak. Go back, lean in, and I always have a cup of coffee. And this is the perfect thing. This is my car too. Scott Henry turned me on to this. You know, he said, you take long drives. He's a king of driving.
So, and to me, it's a great tease. You got to go listen and watch our Chris Landry show. We had him on last Monday. I was up at Hope for the Warriors for the golf tournament there. So you get to see a great background, but you also get to hear Fish or see Fish as he's peeing. You can see the look on his face. But at the same time, too, that was one of the best shows we've had. Chris's insights into football and to different things, was amazing. And to be honest with you, I mean, one of the things that I got out of that when he was talking about Russell Wilson, and it was kind of my thought when I was asking the questions earlier about Russell Wilson, was that he explained he's a good quarterback, but he's not Mahomes. And if the Broncos, I think, have everything in line, Russell Wilson's going to do some really good stuff with him. So I thought that was fascinating. Did you get any other insight out of Chris?
What do you mean by stuff? What does the word stuff mean when you say good stuff?
It's really good.
You mean you're going to get some good yardage out of them? I mean, let me tell you something. You're going to throw me under the bus for taking a leak. Before I get the hard line, one addendum to that. I almost dropped the cup. You know, I'm picking up. Well, I have a desk here, and I hit the desk. And can you imagine dropping the cup, and then it hits all my electrical stuff? Then I short out the show because the show powers through my StreamYard account. And that would be the great. We get how did we lose Chris Landry? Well, Fish took a leak on the show, you know, and it's crazy. So, segue to that, Hardline. What do you think about Chris Landry since I peed all over the segment?
Well, first off, Fish, you got to make sure you keep yourself a Gatorade bottle. That's the first thing that you got to do. That's, but you know what, Chris?
That's dangerous.
Hey, brother, the hole ain't big enough for what this brother's got packed.
But Gatorade looks the same color. That's dangerous.
No, John, we're talking about the top. Another bottle of Gatorade. I need something like this. You know? I did a 23andMe. I'm 19% African American. He knows what I'm talking about, Daly. Go back to your whatever heritage you are.
I'm Black Irish. So I've got African American.
We can't talk about this. Pass a great coupon, and we're putting in 3 minutes.
No, Chris had a lot of great insight. The one thing I took from him was him talking about how bad Nebraska is, and they got to get tougher. And man, it is just sad watching how far Nebraska has fallen from what they used to be. I mean, they used to be a perennial powerhouse, and now, like you said, look, everyone is caught up. Every major college athletic program, the first thing they talk about is facilities, and I'm glad that he brought that up. Because even UNLV moved from the Silver Bowl, and now they play at Allegiant Stadium because they couldn't keep getting recruits in. They didn't have the facilities to make it work. And I'll go to basketball, college basketball. Baylor, the head coach of Baylor, the year they won the national championship, said the same thing, where he was like, look, we didn't have top facilities. It was hard to get people in when you're showing them around old places. That's the one thing that we asked the alumni dollars for and things to sponsor. So I think that was the biggest thing for Chris is, look, it's an optics show. You're selling this university to top-tier recruits, and they want the top product.
We have people in the Raider organization that are watching this show, and they do, okay? And I thought what he said about – and there's people loyal to John Gruden still in the Raider organization. What he said about John Gruden really hit me in the heart because I'm a big Raider fan. He just said ego – because no one can understand here how we didn't pick up Tom Brady. And he came right out and said it's ego that John Gruden wanted to be the face of the team, and he put his ego and being the face of the team instead of winning. That got me.
Yeah. You know, what I thought was really interesting, too, and I thought about this afterwards, was that I think Brady would have been a bad fit with Gruden because I think Brady wanted to get away from the Belichicks. He wanted to be on it. So I think his move to Tampa was perfect because they literally let him not only be the quarterback, but he was the offensive coordinator. He was calling everything. So I think it was a good move for him. Yeah, overall.
It wasn't a good move for the Raiders. I think you rolled the die. He wanted to come here. He met with Gruden. He wanted to come here and stuff like that. So you work it out. If you don't want a guy because, I want to be the prom king and John Daly's up against me. So what I do is I get a picture of John Daly doing this. I get a picture of John Daly before they call the prom. This is John Daly with the principal's car. Okay. If John would never have hair like that. That's how you get out of that. That's basically what happened. But that Chris Landry is great. We're gonna have him on again, and boy, it's a lot of fun. People learn a lot about me. My mother's texting me right now. You did what? Thanks, Daly.
I just always love, man.
Let me tell you the real schmuck of the week is the guy in the middle.
Hey, I just think about all the times you've told stories about me taking a dump on an airplane. So
you took a dump on an airplane. This schmuck took a dump on an airplane, Hardline, when there's a pregnant woman trying to get in the goddamn. There's one toilet. One toilet wasn't working. And he's asking the fucking stewardess for war and peace because he hasn't read chapter 7. He's the greatest guy on the planet. But I'm gonna have my daily constitution, like that one, right? On a 38-minute flight from Vegas to Burbank, and no one's bothering me. They're paying on the door like in Tommy Boy. Remember that Tommy Boy, man?
Yep.
And you put your tray tables up in your seats in the upright position, and Daly's just sitting there. I didn't know Tolstoy could write like this. So don't look. My team had nothing to do with the pregnant lady trying to get into a toilet. All right. Thank you, folks out there. I'm a good Samaritan.
Before we go, folks, wanted to give you a heads up. Hope for the Warriors. We were at their celebrity golf event last week. Great event. It was in Wallace, North Carolina. Hope for the Warriors works with our military warriors who were wounded. They get them healthy, make them part of their families and their community. If you get a chance, go to hopeforthewarriors.org and donate and see what they do. They're really, really very helpful. Also, folks, before we go, remember we are Daily Fish. We are live on Facebook at daily.fish.5. Normally on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We won't be this week. We're here now because we don't want to interfere with your Labor Day. You can also see us on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. We're on YouTube, Wingding TV, and Hey Vegas TV. You can watch us, or I should say listen to us, on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon as well. And just keep checking us because we got some great interviews coming up as well. Good stuff, guys. Go ahead, Fish.
Yeah, as much as we rib each other, Daily, I have to give you kudos, and I'll speak for Hardline on this one. What you do with the Hope for the Warriors and giving your time to a cause that's so brilliant in our lives, what you do for the guys that come back that are maybe not as appreciated is something that is just great philanthropy, and it shows you have a big heart. I will say this. There was 2 porta potties on the golf course and 2 guys in wheelchairs that came back from Iraq needed them. And Daly's reading People magazine. Saying that, you emceed a wonderful event, John. No, I'm serious. You do great. You do great with all this philanthropy. And it's why everyone loves you and hates me.
Well, that's not true because we got a lot of kudos. Daily Fish was mentioned a number of times. Johnny Bench couldn't make it, so I actually emceed for him. So it was Doug Flynn and myself doing all the MC work, and they were plugging Daily Fish quite a bit. So a lot of people said they listened to it. Rick Serrate was there, who we interviewed, and Rick
did he know it?
Yeah, and he said what a great time he had. So he enjoyed it very much. So anyway, yeah, giving back to Hope for the Warriors is something I always enjoyed doing. Been working with them for about 16 years or so. So yeah, but thank you for saying that.
So, no, we rib each other, everyone. We're friends. I mean, Hardline's the greatest. He comes to my bar, and all the girls, where the brother at with that thing in his nose? That looks good. It's funny. We got away with a great line in Blazing Saddles. Where are the white women at? I got white women coming. You got white women coming in. To Chuck saying,
we got to bring Bubba back. We got to bring Bubba back. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We're gonna leave you on this because I'm getting short again. I've never seen something like this. I can't believe it. Wow.
I think I've seen something like that before. I think it was at a New York Mets game, and it was a crowded game, but the girl had a blanket over her head. I remember that. It had to be about 20, 25 years ago. But
I just wonder, when the team's out on the field and they were like, and then somebody stopped and they were like, what are you looking at? Look at that. Hey, Tim, you see this?
Can you imagine the guy doing the blimp? Imagine the blimp crashing. Look at this. Look, we got our national pastime. And we got Labor Day, but still baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, Chevrolets. And guess what? Go to an A's Jave and get blown.
Nice.
Boys, I wish you both a great Labor Day. We've labored for 68 shows, and thank God Hardline's with us to keep us intact. I will try and have more tact on our next show. It's a pleasure being with you guys. And, hey, guys, great week. Go
Love
Serena.
You guys.
Love her too. Go Serena. Go baseball. Go NFL. And everyone love each other. And we love you.